You start your diets on Monday, you do chest on Monday, and you check in for another week of NHL sniffs on a Monday. I got good news for you. The overwhelming majority of the NHL season is still left in front of us. We are not even a month in, and we still got so many games left here in 2023, 2024, and I'm going to be talking about some of those games today. We got a team who hadn't lost a single game in regulation until the weekend. I kind of felt it coming. We felt it coming when they beat Toronto on their home. A couple of overtime games, had to come back against Toronto, one in overtime against Florida. And then they went on the road and engaged in a back and forth with Detroit. And, you know, I usually like to take teams in a home and home, one team to take a game apiece, and I know it wasn't a direct home and home, but they had played, you know, about a week earlier in Detroit. And now Boston's continuing on the road, and they're going to another team who just keeps on chugging, hardly loses any games, and that is the Dallas Stars. The Dallas Stars going to be hosting the Boston Bruins, and I'm looking for Boston to drop one more game. Yeah, that would be 2 straight losses. Maybe the invincibility cloak has been somewhat lifted, but I will say this: effort is never an issue with them. I have a deep respect for this Boston team, the way they're winning and the way they're playing with all these pieces removed. This is a tall order for them. They're going into Dallas. You know they're going to be getting Ottinger. You have 2 mostly veteran teams who have got off to extremely hot starts, both with good goaltending. In this case, give me Dallas. Give me Dallas over Boston. I think the high-end talent on Dallas will be able to do enough to get a win versus this Boston team. Also, I just mentioned you have 2 high-quality. I mean, I know Ottinger wasn't up for the Vezina last year, but Ullmark was, and Ottinger's not far away, probably will win one before he retires. 2 teams who play very good defense. These 2 teams are both on our approved unders list. They're playing each other in what should be a highly contested game, in my opinion. And in that case, we're gonna bump it up to under 6.5. Now, always remember, I said take the Stars, and I also like under 6.5. But if you have to take them together, you want even numbers. If you're gonna take the Stars in a total, you have to choose under 5.5 or under 7.5, because you're wasting a goal by choosing 6.5. 6.5 is for puck lines going under on them. Remember that. And if you need a reminder, go watch my Pick and Corner show where I explain things like this on my YouTube channel in longer form. So I like Dallas and the under in that one. A lot of these Canadian teams, the ones who are supposed to be going to the Stanley Cup, really stumbling out of the gate here. And I'm talking about Toronto and Edmonton. They're both on this Monday slate. But Edmonton's a whole different level of headache than Toronto. Toronto seems very salvageable. You've seen the good in them. They went right into that Dallas team and I think delivered their only regulation loss of the year. Maybe they have 2, but I'm pretty sure it's only them. They beat them 4-1 on their own home ice. We've seen it in bits and pieces. We saw them in a great game against Boston, ended up being an overtime loss. They got in some ruckus contests recently with Buffalo. Buffalo's one of the ruckus teams. Guess who they're playing today? Another ruckus team. We got the Tampa Bay Lightning, our classic first-round series of the last 2 years, which obviously Toronto took last year and the Lightning took in Game 7 the year before that. Things are always fun when these 2 teams play each other. There's obviously some bad blood there, but the one thing that Toronto's always been able to do against the Lightning is score. They score quite a bit, and they were doing that on Vasilevsky. And coming off these couple of losses in a row, you gotta imagine you're going to be seeing a good version of this Toronto team. And as far as the Lightning go, they're doing a good job keeping their head above water. They got their first road win the other night against Ottawa Other than that, they haven't won a single road game, losing to teams like the Blue Jackets and whatnot. I don't trust their goaltending. I'm going to take Toronto here in what I deem will be there's no such thing as a must win, but we're really going to try to win this one. And anytime you get two teams who could potentially form a ruckus type of environment, you know the teams we have on that list. The Ottawas, the Jerseys, the Buffaloes. You can include Toronto. Teams who don't mind going back and forth and getting in high-scoring contests. We can utilize a same-game parlay to boost up the numbers that we get on that. For example, we're going to go over 6.5. We're going to take a John Tavares point, a point from Braden point, and we're going to take Toronto to win this. You can put all four of these together, and it will give you that bet over plus 400 or something like that. And you can do that right on Caesars, where your first bet will be risk-free up to $1,000 if you're a new user on the platform. That's the promotion we have going. If you're a new user on Caesars, your first bet, risk-free up to $1,000. You bet $750 on this, you miss it, and that $750 bet is waiting for you in bet credits. As long as you're a new user over there, over 21, and you're obviously located in a state that has Caesars and sports betting is permitted. But always remember, if you or anybody you know has a problem, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. A lot of opportunities to add player points to an over 6.5. And if you don't like the Leafs in that, that's fine. Just do the over 6.5 with Point and Tavares. That's a good bet right there in and of itself. Because always remember, if it's going to go over 6.5, with all those goals being scored, it's pretty likely that those key offensive pieces from both of those teams are going to find themselves on the score sheet. So that's what I'll do in that game. And looking at this last game, I'm really tempted to do something very similar, like an over 6.5, and you give me 2 points from McDavid, 2 points from Pettersson. You know, I know you guys always, you know me as an unders guy, but I always want you to know that if the spot calls for it, I don't mind taking overs. We've been foreshadowing Vancouver getting involved in more overs since those early games happened to be unders. We've been seeing that lately. There was that wacky game against San Jose, but then there was a 5-2 against Nashville. So goals are starting to be scored in those games, and I think it's a great opportunity to grab a couple of two points. Plus money for Pettersson with McDavid and the over 6.5. And I like that one as well. And those are some of the bets that I have for you here to open up this week on a Monday. Good luck to you. Better luck to me. Make sure you're subscribed here to the Odd Shopper channel. And then come follow me on social media. It's at Andy Francis on all platforms. It's always appreciated. Happy to be back for another week. I will talk to you tomorrow. See you then.